Well, hello and welcome to the Owatonna Today Show, your community connection since 1991. My name is Pete Connor. I'm your host for today's show on October 16th of 2017. We've got a couple of on-location segments today. We're first going to be going to see a little bit about, or learn a little bit about LTO's upcoming fall play, Shrek, which is, I think everybody knows about Shrek. And then we will go to a visit with Vincent Dixon, who is a children's book author, for an interview and a little bit of a reading from Vincent, who is the writer of the book that Scott Nylund illustrated. And you might remember Scott being with us last week. So at any rate, it should be a good and interesting couple of segments for you. We always appreciate your feedback about what you see on Owatonna Today. So if you have knowledge of a person that could stand some recognition for something well done, or a business, or perhaps an event that is in need of some recognition, why don't you let us know about that by contacting us at owatonnatoday@charter.net or by giving Leanne a call at 390-5751. And now we're going to take a quick break for some messages from our sponsors and be right back with LTO's fall play, Shrek. Stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Brenda with the Mortgage Office of Brenda Bednar, aligned with American Mortgage and Equity Consultants, where closings feel right from the beginning. I'm a proud supporter of the Owatonna Today Show.
Hi, I'm David Denai, and I play Lord Farquaad.
And I'm Courtney Kreuzer, and I play Gingy in LTO's production of Shrek The Musical, directed by Sandy Hardy Hagen and sponsored by Federated Insurance.
Performances of Shrek The Musical will be held Thursday through Saturday, October 19th, 20th, and 21st at 7:30 p.m., with a matinee on Sunday, October 22nd at 2 p.m.
And again the following Thursday through Saturday, October 26th, 27th, and 28th at 7:30 p.m., with another matinee on Sunday, October 29th at 2 p.m.
Tickets are available at the LTO box office by calling 451-0764 or online at littletheatreofowatonna.org. Don't miss LTO's production of Shrek the Musical!
Welcome back to the Owatonna Today Show, your community connection. I am here at Little Theatre of Owatonna, and it's time for Shrek the Musical. And I am here with Tom Clements, Sandy Hardy Hagen, and Heather Burke. Welcome to the Owatonna Today Show.
Thank you.
All right. Sandy, we will start with you. You are the director of this play. And did you decide that this was a musical that you wanted to do, or did Little Theatre ask you to direct it?
It was suggested by somebody on the board about over a year ago, and I really didn't know much about the show, and I said sure, because I trusted her judgment, and here we are.
And here we are. So, and you have a cast of how many?
Our cast is 30, which is really big for our stage. But the big problem with 30 is costuming so many people, and they have a lot of changes.
Right, and because of the type of show that it is, this is sort of a fantasy fairy tale type show, is that correct?
Yes.
All right, so now tell me, how is Shrek the Musical different from what we've seen on the movie screen?
Well, one common word I've heard throughout the several last months we've been rehearsing is Broadway. This isn't Broadway. So, of course, they have different things that we don't have here, but we really make a good use of everything that we have. So there are some slight changes. One play might have the Magic Mirror, for instance, was not in our script, and we did add him. So we have kind of liberty to think of the people who were in the show and place before and add them in.
So is the storyline kind of the same as with the several movies that have been made of Shrek?
Several movies. I hear there's 5, but I've only watched 2, so I really can't tell you.
Oh,
and there's a Christmas one.
Oh, okay.
Or something.
Oh, okay. So it's a pretty popular franchise.
I guess so.
Okay. All right. And you have 30 cast members.
Yes.
And how are you handling the costumes? Because aren't most of these people fairy tale type characters?
Fortunately, we have some good costumers, and 1 or 2 came on late. We really don't have a big costume crew working on this one. We have 2 and a half a person in a way, because she's here part-time.
Okay.
So we got a lot of costumes. Originally started with a friend of mine saw the play in Iowa, and he directed us to things that we could get from that theater there.
Oh, wonderful.
And then we found out that Austin had done the play too, and they let us rent their costumes. So we have a lot of them already in hand here.
Okay.
And then, of course, we've had some costumes that we've used from previous plays.
Okay, all right. Give us a hint about what the plot is all about in this particular version of Shrek.
Sure. It opens up pretty much with the ogre, Shrek, and he's on his own. He's happy living the way that he's lived. He's kind of by himself, has no communication with anybody. Then all of a sudden, all these fairy tale creatures land up on his property, and he doesn't like it. And they make an agreement how he can get them off of his property. That's a kind of a deal that they make together against all of them, or with all of them. And he goes off on this quest to get it done. And in the quest and the journey, he befriends a lot of important people. And one thing about this show is it kind of emphasizes irregularities and oddities in people and how they all kind of get together at the end.
Really? So there really is a nice moral to the story. So
Oh, yes, there is. And if you listen, there's adult humor in it, and it's for children too, and there's a story in it. It's a nice story. And it's funny, very funny.
And this is for family, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Great, great. Give some kudos, shout outs to some of those behind the scenes people that are helping you put on this show, because they're kind of the unsung heroes. We don't get to see them in front of us on stage.
Right. One thing that we usually do, we have somebody who will design a set, and they have a pattern that they can work with, a template, a plan, but we did not have it this time. So Keith Wohlenhaus is just a gift and a half, and he always comes in, and he built the whole set entirely. You only see a small portion of it.
We'll pull back and show some of it.
And there's an awful lot of big props. He comes here every day and spends hours and hours.
Oh, wow.
And then we have our painters. That's another key thing. And Naomi Jurley is in charge of that, and she's rounded up some people to help her do that. And they're in here every day. And then, of course, the costumes. The makeup is wonderful. It's not just masks like maybe you might see at Halloween or something, but it's a lot of really good detailed work on a lot of the characters.
Okay, so we really need to watch for that then.
Yeah.
That's the detail on the makeup.
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay, and now who is your tech director?
Victoria Bartkowiak.
Oh, okay.
And this is the first time we have worked together in a show.
Okay, so things are going well then, I take it. Thus far?
Yes.
You open
So far, so good.
on
So far, so good.
Thursday, because this airs on Monday, and so you open up the following Thursday. Okay. This being a musical, tell me what were the challenges with the music portion of the show?
For me personally, this is my 7th show to direct. It's my first musical. So in previous times, it was pretty much my decision. I'm working with myself and a tech director, but now there's a lot of other directors involved. And there's some miscommunication about some things, or maybe get left out of the loop and you come back and things are different than what you left it the night before. But it all works out. And a great bunch of people. We have Kira Ron is our choreographer, and Sarah Friesen is our vocal director. And we have Mr. Mike Burke, who's in charge of the orchestra.
Oh, okay, great. So it's all in very good hands.
Yes.
For sure. So we want to talk to Tom and Heather, so why don't you pass?
Ladies first.
Okay, we'll go. We'll do Heather first.
I'm a gentleman first of all.
Very good.
Gentleman ogre.
Heather, this is your second Little Theater show. You were in Funny Girl.
Yes.
And why did you decide to audition for this fantasy musical?
Well, I really loved the movie Shrek, and I really fell in love with the character of Princess Fiona, actually. 'Cause
Okay.
she and I have a lot in common.
Oh, really? And what is that?
We're both very non-typical, very atypical people, you know. Maybe not like the shut away, shut in part, but sassy, sappy, feisty.
Like Prince Charming.
Yes, always, you know,
You're getting
waiting for my
coached
Prince
from-
Charming.
Okay.
And, you know, my husband, Mike Burke, is obviously directing the orchestra.
Orchestra, so
But-
it's a bit of a family affair.
Yes, and
That is
it's really
very
nice.
That is very nice. What attracts you to the role of Fiona?
The fact that she is so feisty. She's funny. She's not that average princess that you find, like the Disney princesses. You know, they all have the same general story, waiting for their Prince Charming, and they live
Waiting to
happily
be
ever after.
rescued.
Yes, and
Yes.
you know, Fiona, she's waiting to be rescued, but she ends up kind of rescuing herself and rescuing others along with her.
Okay.
So it's not just a one-sided, oh, I'm a damsel in distress. No, I'm a little fireball, I guess.
Okay, all right. That's all we need to know from you right now. We don't want to give away any more secrets. Let's pass the microphone back over to Tom.
Hello.
And guess what character Tom plays?
I'll give you 3 guesses then.
That's right.
Is it the ears that gives it away? Oh, yes, these things.
Yes. And so does that mean that your face is going to become as green as your ears?
Oh, yes, there's going to be an intense makeup process that I am not even privy to.
Oh.
So it's kind of like a top secret plan that I'm not even going to know until I think the audience knows. So that's going to be a very nice reveal, not only for me, but also the people watching.
So Tom, this is your first LTO play, but
Yes.
not your first introduction to the theater.
Oh, no.
Tell us about your past experience.
Oh my goodness, I've been on stage since I was in high school.
Have
That's
you?
how I got bit by the theater bug. So doing the high school musicals, and then going into college, I dabbled in musicals just on my spare time, and going into the opera program also in my college at the University of Northern Colorado.
Oh boy.
So kind of did that on the school as like, I like to sing, I like to dance, so why not do that on the side?
Okay.
So.
And some of you are probably sitting there right now thinking, you know, he looks familiar. Where have I seen him
I just
from?
have one of those faces.
Yeah. Yeah, but tell us what you do for your day job.
On my day job, I'm actually the morning meteorologist at KEYC News 12 in
Yay.
Mankato.
So there you go. If you're thinking, golly,
That
that guy
guy.
looks familiar. All right.
Cloudy, sunny. Yeah, there you go.
50-50.
Yeah,
That's
that's
not
it.
too bad of a deal.
Tonight's forecast, 100% chance for dark. There. I never
Very
run
good.
forecast.
Very good. Tell us about your character, Shrek.
Well, Shrek, he is kind of a recluse at first. He's very happy by himself, but that's just because that's the world that he's lived in. He's used to being shut down and being locked away in this corner for so long that he's just kind of grown to accept it. But now that he's out on this quest, he's not only finding that this is so much more, that he can be so much more, and it's almost a voyage of self-discovery as well as a voyage of love. So that's what I see it from.
You're very philosophical.
I like to think so.
Yes, exactly.
Philosophical ogre.
Okay. Well, it's wonderful meeting you. And we'll hand the microphone back to Sandy. Sandy, you do have to tell us when this show is on the boards here so that people can get tickets.
Yes, and first thing I will say is you need to call in and order tickets right away because they're not going in ones and twos, they're going in big groups.
Right, group, sure, absolutely.
Yes. We have shows running Thursday the 19th, the 20th, 21st, 26th, 27th, 28th at 7:30 p.m. here. The doors open at 7.
Okay.
And we have 2 matinees at 2 o'clock on October 22nd and the 29th.
Okay, well, I can hardly wait to come and see all of your wonderful, fantastical fantasy creatures in Shrek the Musical. So people call right now, for sure. Thank you so much for being guests on the Owatonna Today Show. Audience, please stay with us. We will be right back after a word from our sponsors. All right.
Hi, Eric here from Owatonna Senior Place. Participate in one of the many active fitness classes we have, or hop on the bus for one of our great day trips. We have a variety of programs and activities happening throughout the week. Our goal at Senior Place is to create positive moments for you at a reasonable and affordable price. Don't forget the Senior Place Partnership Program, with over 40 businesses giving discounts and incentives to you for being a Senior Place member. Contact us for more details. Live full, live well, live long.
I'm Dan Branstead of Carlson Branstead & Company, Certified Public Accountants. We support the Owatonna Today Show.
Greetings from the Steele County Historical Society. We invite you to visit us and enjoy your county's history at the History Center and the Village of Yesteryear. Check out our website for current exhibits and our monthly programs.
Hello, my name is Katie Marshall. A year ago, my family and I became homeless. We were scared and alone. Today, with the help of Steele County Transitional Housing and generous donors like you, my family and I are safely housed. I am working, going to college, paying my rent on time. My children have a warm bed to sleep in every night. My family and I are so grateful for this second chance. Please help others in need by donating to transitional housing today. Everyone deserves a safe place to live.
Welcome back to the Owatonna Today Show, Your Community Connection. I am here at the Owatonna Arts Center, and we have just finished a book reading of The Trial of Mankind, and I am here with author Vincent Dixon and illustrator Scott Nylund, and of course you all know Scott Nylund because he is an Owatonna native. Gentlemen, welcome to the Owatonna Today Show.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, we had Scott on the show last Monday, and he was talking about the book and the illustrations and then also his career. So to start with, for the first part of this interview, Vincent, we want to concentrate on you. So first of all, tell us where you are from.
I'm from Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay, that's a bit of a ways away. And give us your background. Tell us how you came to be who you are today.
Well, I'm an only boy with 3 sisters, all older than me.
Aren't you lucky?
No, I wasn't. No, it wasn't too bad, but everybody thinks I was spoiled, and I wasn't.
Okay.
I became a singer in the choir and a few singing groups. And as I became a teenager, I became a plumber. And I did plumbing for 30 years.
Oh my, okay.
And singing, you know, on the side and so forth.
Plumber by day, singer by night.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And when I retired, I needed something to do, so I started writing. I'd already been writing songs and poems and things of that nature. And the woman who eventually became my wife, at the time I was writing her poems. And when I wrote the poem, I didn't call it The Trial of Mankind. I just said, hey, Connie, here's a great poem. Check this out.
Oh, okay. We're going to do a close-up of the book here. How did you come up with the idea then of the name of this, The Trial of Mankind? It started out with a poem for your wife, and the poem was actually just the first chapter of the book.
Absolutely.
Okay, so how did the ideas develop from there?
Well, we decided that, you know, we wanted to point out that even though God did give man dominion over the earth, he was taking abuse of that privilege, you know. And the best way to do that was to try to do it in a positive way, you know, because you already got people fighting for animal rights and so forth, but everything is like a war or a battle. So we figured that we would do something that people would enjoy, and hopefully while they're enjoying it, they would receive the message in a subliminal sort of way.
And what struck me, because you did do a reading of your book today here at the Owatonna Arts Center, what struck me is you gave voice to the animals, which we don't hear, you know, and made them seem like they had a soul and a personality. And so how did you infuse all of that into the book?
Actually, it's hard to say how the animal voices really came along, you know, but as I was writing the story, it just felt natural. It felt like the right thing to do. And as I began developing the characters, it allowed me to see the creature, and it allowed me to write better about the animal, you know, and it just became natural, you know.
Okay.
I can't say that when I started writing the book, I didn't say when I write this, I'm going to do all these different animal voices. It just seemed to fall into place on its own.
Okay, so this was really kind of a work in progress type thing. And how long ago did you start on the first poem?
2001.
Okay, so that's been quite a long time that it's taken for all of this to develop. Okay.
Yeah, well, there's an odd thing about it, though, because I had written the first 6 chapters, was it? Yeah. I wrote the first 6 chapters within the first 6 years. And we were just kind of dealing with that. But when I got with the publishing company, and they said that they thought it was great, but it was a short story. And they didn't want to produce a short story. They wanted to produce a novel, you know.
Okay.
And this was last year?
It's more than that.
Oh, 2 years, because we spent a year doing the artwork alone. So 2 years ago in March, the publishing company said, can you make it longer? And I said, how much longer? They said about 7,000 more words.
Which equal how many more chapters?
It ended up being 3 more chapters.
3 more chapters, okay.
And I'm really appreciative that they did, because I didn't know that the story had that much more to offer. You know, and it only took me 30 days to write the last 3
Wow.
chapters.
And of course, what we have to look at too is that you work full-time as a plumber, you were a singer, and you told me that you have written several plays and a musical, or is it the other way around? Anyway, both. So, I mean, you're quite the creative gentleman.
Thank you.
So, how did you feel when you hooked up with Scott? Scott told us kind of how that came about on Monday's Owatonna Today Show. You had a phone conversation. What was your first impression of Scott?
Well, when I saw the artwork, I was impressed. But I had seen good artwork before, you know, and so, I mean, that, to me, that was just step one. First, you got to have good artwork, but there had to be chemistry. I did not want to work on a project of this nature, and there was no chemistry. So after we talked on the phone, I said to him, I would like for us to get together, because we need to know each other. We need to bond as men in order for the story to work. Because in my mind, if we didn't get along, or if there was something about his character that struck me as wrong, it wasn't going to happen. You know, but when we got together, we actually did about 3 years of male bonding in about 3 hours.
Oh, wow.
We really did. We laughed, we talked about each other, we cried, you know, we did it all. And then we said, okay, let's get down to business. And what really made me happy was he said, well, Vincent, I got to be honest with you, I'm a perfectionist. And if I see just the slightest thing wrong, I have to say something. Are you okay with that? And I was jumping with joy because I'm a perfectionist. So it was so good because neither one of us took criticism with any weight behind it. You know what I'm saying? If I said something, he didn't have to be gentle about it. He said, no, I don't like that. We need to do something else. There was no offense. It's okay.
No offense.
Let's do something.
But there was some great honesty.
Oh, it was honesty. It was working together. And as far as I was concerned, God meant for this to
happen.
Yes.
And I think he probably meant for the relationship to happen more so than the book.
Oh,
you think
most
so?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Okay. Pass the microphone over to Scott then. So Scott, how long of a process was this illustrating Vincent's book? Because you said you didn't read the whole book.
Well, I didn't read the book at all after the fact I read it, but we did this all by communicating over the phone or in person. So when we met on the phone, that initial conversation, he just read the first 2 chapters. And that's when I knew I wanted the job. Then I should say, that's when I knew I wasn't going to let anybody else get this job.
Okay.
And then that's when I did a few sketches as examples, and then he liked them with comments about aesthetics, about the family's image, or aesthetics about, just minor tweaks. And then once
you had it in your head what these characters were.
Oh yeah.
You know what? It wasn't as much as I had. It wasn't as much as I had it in my head, because I believe in staying in your lane. I'm a writer. I wanted an illustrator who could see it, and I can let them hear it, but I wanted an illustrator that could let them see it. You know. So I really didn't have any particular vision, but once Scott drew them, I could look at the character and I could do the voice, and when I looked at that character, the voice fit. It was great.
It was great, okay.
Absolutely.
I'm assuming that there were some tweaks back and forth then in this process of illustrating. How many illustrations are in the book, Scott?
They gave us a goal of doing 20 panels, and so we kind of took 20 panels and spread it out over 9 chapters, whether it be a full-page illustration, a 2-page illustration, or small little vignettes throughout the book. So when we had that objective, that's when we started out doing 40 thumbnails across a bunch of pages, and then edited it down to 20-ish panels that we then made little vignettes out of for each of the pages, and that's what you see today.
And then working with the publisher with the illustrations, what is that like? I mean, how long of a process was that? Because I would imagine that was a lot of back and forth as well.
No,
Really?
I thought the same thing. What happened when we agreed that this project was mine, I was going to work with Vincent on getting the illustrations done and approved, and then once the illustrations were approved by Vincent, that's when I would then send them to the illustrators. But they wanted everything at the end when everything was done. So after the introduction, I then spent a year finishing them, editing them, photoshopping them, and then once everything was done and everything was approved by Vincent, then that's when I sent them into the publisher. And then once that was done, we started working on the cover.
Okay, all right, wow. It's quite a process, and for Vincent, it's been a 12-year process? Yes, ma'am. And for Scott, it's been about a 1-year process.
About a year and a half.
Yeah. And you're collaborating on another project, which is marvelous. Tell us about that.
Oh, yeah. We want to do a Trial of Mankind Part 2, Trial by the Sea. But here recently, the thought has came into my mind to do a Trial of Mankind, Trial of the Crocodile. And I started writing that in my head, which is how I start. I write in my head first, and so, hey, anything that I do that Scott wants to put his name on, it's an automatic,
Okay.
So he and I will collaborate on that, and once we decide which way we want to go, it'll happen.
It'll happen. All right. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much. Unfortunately, we are out of time. Congratulations on your first published children's book, which is actually really more of an adolescent children's book, so to speak. Yeah. And it is available on The Little Professor here in Owatonna. And then where else, Vincent, is the book available?
Available at bookstores anywhere. They can order it for you right then and there. And you can get it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Goble, Google, and iTunes Play.
Holy moly, Rocky. All right, that is great. So everyone, it's really a wonderful book. There's a few twists and turns along the way, which I got a little worried towards the end, but I love the way it ended. You have to get this book, especially if you care about our planet. All right, thank you so much. And audience, please stay with us. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Amy Swain Hearing Centers is a proud sponsor of the Owatonna Today Show. I'm Dr. Amy Swain, and I want everyone to hear better.
Hi, this is Barry Gillespie, president of ERA Gillespie Real Estate, where our pledge is to save you money, save you time, and simplify your life. And we're proud supporters of the Owatonna Today Show.
Welcome back to the Owatonna Today Show, your community connection. Thanks for staying with us. We've got some community announcements for you at this time. The next afternoon support group for caregivers assisting people with Alzheimer's or another dementia will be on Tuesday, October 17th from 2:30 to 3:30 p.m. Support group is held at the Owatonna Public Library, 105 North Elm, in the third floor small conference room adjacent to the Gainey Room. For more information, please contact Deb Gillard at 507-213-1305 or gillard.deb@gmail.com. The Steele County DFL is sponsoring a forum on healthcare for all presented by Minnesota State Senator John Marty. The forum will be held Thursday, October 19th from 7 to 9 p.m. in the Gainey Room of the Owatonna Public Library. That will take care of it for today. Please come back on Wednesday when we will be having an interview with WAPO, or the Washington Post, if you will, reporter Christopher Ingram, and a visit to the Rustique. Thanks for being with us today. We look forward to having you back on Wednesday.